good afternoon to all those here in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean. Good night to those in England, in India, in Australia, and everywhere else in the world that you are. Good night to you, good morning, whatever time it be. Please accept our beautiful greetings to you as we come back to you to review the second day, a very successful day indeed for the West Indies in this ongoing second test between England there in England, where the West Indies is taking on England after many years of battle, yet again in another test match. Beautiful 100 from the Dominican, the first ever Dominican to make an 100 representing the West Indies in Test cricket. He was delightful, Kevin Hodge, and we will show you scenes of that 100 in a moment. I have along with me, as per usual, a member of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer himself on your screen, Mr. John Melbourne. He's also a fellow journalist. We have also with us the president of the cricket show, Mr. Leon Francis with us. He's from Florida, originally from the beautiful island of Antigua and Barbuda. We have the honorary secretary with us as well from New Jersey, he's originally from Jamaica, and he's with us. We have also fellow journalists and recently nominated and slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame. He's originally from Jamaica but now living in Southern California, Mr. Dennis Eat. He's also a fellow journalist as well with us here. They're all analysts for us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy as we seek to bring you coverage of the ongoing test match between the West Indies and England 2024. Mr. Melbourne, how pleased are you with the performance of the West Indies today? We hit them very hard yesterday, but they have responded. Just to speak a little on the captain that we had labored a lot on yesterday because of his lack of leadership and vision for this test team. But he has responded and he has led the way for the batting unit this morning, and what has come after has pleased every single Caribbean fans here in the region. Your thoughts on that?
Well, a very good afternoon to our viewers, listeners here on the West Indies Cricket Development Academy platform. And wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Certainly a far cry from yesterday's performance at Trent Bridge, that first day. Day two, just a different story. Yes, we talked about the captaincy of Craig Brathwaite yesterday. And I think one of the observations that I didn't mention yesterday was how many times Craig Brathwaite seemed to be, I don't know if he was consulting or just exchanging ideas with Joshua Da Silva. And but today, yes, he came, the opening partnership, put on a 53-run partnership, the first 50 with this partnership between Craig Brathwaite and Michael Louis. And the big significant partnership, of course, between KBM Hodge and Alec Athanaze, 165 runs. And now that Da Silva and Jason Holder batting, they are still at the wicket with a 46-run partnership. But yes, certainly, I guess they are all smiles around the ground. Initially when KBM Hodge started batting, and I said to myself, he's going to be out soon. But as he stayed at the wicket, he battled and he battled. He seemed to be battling. And then he was dropped by Root at 16. And after that drop catch, he seemed to settle down and started. Well, he joined Athens now in making some shots. A lot of the fours actually coming square of the wicket, both on the off and on side. But it was pleasing to see a West Indies peer putting runs on the board and putting England on the back foot. That making sure it wasn't going to be no easy trip for them for this second test at Trent Bridge. And I guess I'll just leave it there for now, Junior.
Absolutely. Mr. Francis, glad to have you back with us for the last few shows. You were not here, but glad to have you back now. Um, when you look at this West Indies batting unit led by their out of form captain that has struggled in the first test, how pleased are you that he somehow gotten back his way into some sort of form? Nothing to write home yet about, but him just being there up until the first hour this morning would have reassured the batters that were in the pavilion that we could stand up and do something. Do you think that him being there translate a good message to the batting group that was to come after?
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen, panelists, and listeners around the world. If you are, it's morning time in your neck of the woods. I'd like to say good morning as well. Sorry to have been able to miss those couple meetings, but when duty calls, I have to take care of things. But yes, it was very pleasing to me to see Craig Brackley come back. He won the toss yesterday and decided to send the opposition in, and they were able to score in excess of 400 runs in a day, which was significant on my view. But today he responded well. That partnership between himself and Louis was a pivotal, because he did score some runs. Although he got out, he was worked up. He was outsmart, as it were. Played probably he should have avoided that shot that he played. But nevertheless, I can't recall the last time West Indies scored in excess of 350 in a day. And it was significant that we had someone who stood up. Despite his chance, you can recall how many chances the Englishman had as well. So he got a chance and he made a use of it. It's a good platform. I'm glad to see that even Holder was promoted in the order. He too, although he was a bit slow, the partnership between himself and Hodge, who went on to score the century, the first Dominican to have done so, was a good knock. England has to respect us, that we are no walkover anymore. And I hope that the other batters who are to come will just put their heads down, and if we can get a lead, or if not a lead, close to the first in the score that was set by England. But it was a good day in my view. I could laugh, I could smile, I could say, well, we are showing some progress, and this should lead them into a third test. And if whatever the outcome of this second test, I would be pleased if they don't lose it. I'll be happy. I feel if we draw this test, we can go on to win the third test. So that's my take for now until we come back later. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Mr. Heath, as you speak, we will run down some scenes of the test innings of Alec Athens and Kevin Hodge and a few others. How pleased are you with the performance of um, Alec Athens, first of all, how he really came in and took the initiative and batted, showed the way before Hodge catch on to him and carry it to the end. And just before uh, this test series in the when the team got into England and they played that 3-day game, Hodge scored a magnificent 100 as well. And so they always knew that it was in him to score. But the team was bogged down from the first test. But Alec Athenes came and he looked the part. How your thoughts on the young man that showed the way, and then Kevin Hodge that picked up from where he left off and really put us in a glorious position to go and win this test match, this second test match. And if we do win today, if we do win this test match, it will be the second test match that the West Indies will win against England in the last 30 odd years. And so it would be a marvelous achievement. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Mr. Codlin. Let me first say hello and welcome to everyone, wherever you are. And we appreciate your presence. We thank you for joining us. I'm delighted, as are the other members of this panel, with what we have witnessed today. In fact, it almost looks as if there is what you call an outbreak of infectious happiness going around, not just here, but all over the Caribbean, because we have witnessed our batters, West Indian batters, standing up to the task. Yesterday, as you may have recalled, my focus was on the process, and it's been my mantra. I am happy to have seen and watched the process at work. Now I sincerely hope that this is the beginning, and we have the opportunity to see the end results. As you know, both Matt Hodge and Athenes came in, and we saw with our own eyes the level and the degree of concentration that was there, even to the point where Hodge had his mishap being dropped, but he shook that off and come back with the process to show us some very good shots, drives, cover drives, square cuts, and so on. He has displayed, along with Athenes, the kind of cohesion and unity that we long to see between West Indian batters out there in the middle. So we hope that now that they have set the stage, the remaining batters will have been watching and taking note. And then when it's their turn, we can see that they have benefited from the groundwork that Hodge and Athenes has set for us, and give the skipper his due. He did make the effort to lead this way. Back to you.
Absolutely. Mr. Brown, the Jamaican Kirk McKenzie, it was of no great showing in our 4-day championship why he was brought into the team. And over the period that he's in the team, he has not yet scored an half century. And based on what we are seeing now in England, there has to be some question about his place in that team, because we have seen that it's only Jason Holder and Joshua De Silva to a lesser extent, and more the captain Craig Brathwaite and Jason Holder would have been long-time members of that test team. And so it's youngsters that are coming together now to mold the team. But how concerned are you with the performance of Kirk McKenzie not being able to get to an half century yet since being in this West Indies test team? Are you concerned about his form, or a big innings is in store? Your thoughts on Kirk McKenzie?
Muted, Brother Dale. still
muted, Dale.
You're still muted.
Mr. Melbourne, you wanna pick up on that until Brother Dale is on?
Yes, okay. Kurt Mackenzie, I said to a very
I'm
good friend.
sorry, man.
Okay, go ahead, Dale.
I apologize.
Go
This
ahead.
computer acted very funny here. First of all, thanks to Mr. Codlin and the Cricket Hall of Fame for having us here. It is an honor, pleasure for me to be with, feel like I'm among friends with the fellow panelists, and greetings to everyone out there in the world who is taking some of their precious time to listen to us. And we hope we have something very informative to give to you. You asked about Mackenzie. Now, batsmen get out and the bowlers try to get them out. But it's a matter of how do you get out and what were you trying to do when you get out. Brathwaite and Louis gave the team a solid start. When Brathwaite was out, we were at 78 for 2, and Mackenzie was in with Alfanese. And 6 runs later, or 3 overs later, the very loose and feeble shot that he played, there was no reason for him to be playing that stroke, batting as your number 3 batsman. He wasn't even deceived. He just gave away his wicket. So for that reason, I'm very disappointed with how he got out. And it was just rank carelessness. Now, the last time we were here yesterday, I spoke about his lack of form in the regional format. Given the fact as a test batsman, he should be coming back and making a ton of runs. He has a lot of opportunity to make those runs, and he did not. And many persons, I believe, questioned his inclusion, but they understood why he would get another chance. But the way the team is constructed, it's going to be hard for them to drop him right now over in England unless they give someone like the reserve wicketkeeper, who I think is a very good batsman, Imlak, give him that chance to come into the team. But Mackenzie, we can't continue to have him bat so poorly and give away his wicket like that. And he wasn't the only one, by the way, but I can excuse Louis a little bit more because Louis was very reckless also. When he played a bad stroke, got away with it, got 4 runs, and the very next ball, he repeated it. This time he hit it up in the air and was caught. So I worry about Mackenzie's the mental fortitude again. Your captain just get out, a youngster come in there with you. You're a youngster too, but you are more senior than him.
Absolutely.
Put your head down and bat. You're both left-handers. You're going to upset the English bowlers line. Sit down there and bat because, as our panelists pointed out yesterday, the need to occupy the crease and rotate the strike is of paramount importance. And apparently it wasn't drilled in his head. And maybe Lewis's head to some degree, because why is he trying to hike the ball over mid-wicket at that stage of the innings? Don't know. And that looked so safe, the bowlers couldn't get him out. So I'm disappointed with Mackenzie and his continued poor run of form and poor decision, because one thing when you're out of form and the bowler trap you and clean you up, but you are giving away a wicket.
Yeah, it was a soft dismissal indeed.
Very soft.
Yeah. Mr. Melbourne, your thoughts on Mackenzie?
My thoughts on Mackenzie goes back to the 4-day West Indies regional. And as Dale said, he didn't have a good series, and I was surprised that he would have been named to go to England ahead of Shehu or even Mr. Myers. Um, so, so far, Mackenzie has not showed me that he's ready for this level yet. And in terms of team selection by Cricket West Indies selectors, I think they have better in their bag than Mackenzie right now. But as they said, I don't think they would drop him at this stage. He probably, and then we'll have to see what he does in the second innings. Sometimes we become so critical of an athlete, and then they come back and really put on a good performance. So let's see what he does in the second innings. But I am not pleased with how he bats.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need for him to step up. But what we are saying that he made his debut last year against India at the Queen's Park Oval there in Trinidad. It was a rain affected game when India was out there. Alec Atenis made his debut before Mackenzie, that was in his home country of Dominica. And so both of them had played the same number of games, but you are clearly seeing at the moment that Atenis looked the part already. Mackenzie has not made the transition. And this is what we're trying to dissect. And maybe Mr. Francis could shed some light on why Mackenzie have not been able to make this transition, because Atenis clearly had made it and had transitioned very well into a reliable test batter at this moment. Mr. Francis, over to you.
It is my belief that his lack of confidence. He's a good player. His confidence is not there. He needs a big innings from somewhere, but he can't get it between now and the second test. He has another innings to prove himself. I'm sure we're going to bat again. If the game goes the distance or go for 4 days. But lack of confidence is what I think is the main reason for his failure. Others are performing. You see, Brad Pitt has come turn around. Louis needs another good innings too. He has gotten a few runs, but he needs some. But Mackenzie is the one who is really lacking to produce. What he has to do, he has to, change his mindset. You just can't go like a ship without a rudder. You go anywhere. You have to plan and work your plan. If it takes singles for you to get your eyes on the ball until the boundaries start to flow, do it. Get ready to bat long. Don't just go.
He was trying to hit the spin bowler out of the attack, but he had no plan.
He has to plan, build an innings. I'm going to be in. Use your chewing gum. Someone said Viv Richards used to use that. Concentrate. Pick the ones you're going to go after. If not, get the singles, rotate the strike.
I'm not cutting you, Mr. Francis, but with almost 10 backroom staff in England and no mental coach, how disappointed are you? Because at this time, you clearly see that our batters need something mentally they need somebody that can get into their mind and coach them through these moments, because Mackenzie need a sit down, need somebody to show him something, because you're clearly seeing he's suffering from some mental so there's something that wrongs with the mentality, and to have almost 10 backroom staff and no mental coach. How do you explain that to the Caribbean?
You know how but you have to eat an elephant one bite at a time. What do you want to do? Do you want to be in the side? Do you want to score runs? Or do you want to be dropped? I don't believe he'll be dropped even though he failed this time, because the West Indies selectors have a tendency to give the players a long run. But this second innings is got to be a crucial innings for this young man. He's a talented player, and we're not getting the best out of him. We need to send Mr. Chambers up there for a brief to just talk to him. I think he needs to be sit down and talk to. He is performing below his standard. We're not getting the best out of him. And it can happen. He can be turned around. But in any side, sometimes you have all the other players are performing and one doesn't meet the standard you set. We need to get everybody to play their part. And we can build an innings and get in excess of 500 runs. On this particular pitch, we should be able to get in excess of 500. But we noticed that Jason Holder was promoted, and Jason Holder might be slow, but he held his innings together when Hodge was producing the runs. So we need him to be sit down and get a big partnership, and hope that will change his whole outcome of his tour of England. He's a good player, but we're not getting the best, and we have to find a way to get him to produce, because everybody's not going to come off the same time, and sometimes you get a big innings, and that will turn the whole tour around. So give him a chance. I wouldn't drop him. I will just hope that he performs in the second innings, though, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, he needs a big second innings. Mr. Eat, with almost 10 backroom staff, do you think one of those should have been a Roddy Webster, somebody that can guide these players through a rough time on tour and try to get back their mind into place? Somebody like Kirk McKenzie, who we are seeing having some mental lapse in his batting over the testing at the home of cricket and now at Trent Bridge.
Right. But regarding Kirk, I am disappointed for Kirk, and I was delighted when he was selected and brought into the team. His performance was poor in the 4-day championship, and that was due in part to the performance of the national team during that period. Now, certainly we have seasoned professionals there like Holder, Brathwaite, Da Silva, players who should have been capable of recognizing the struggles that Mackenzie's going through, who should be able to take him aside and speak to him and encourage him. Yes, I'm disappointed that you have 10 backroom staff and you have very few. You do not have the kind of support that might have been needed. Once you're on the cricket field, the only country is cricket. And so it shouldn't make any difference which part of the Caribbean or which part of the island you're from. Once you're both out there, you talk the language, the food, the drink, everything revolves around cricket. And so it should make no difference which one of those islands you're from.
However, Dennis, in the post-game interview, if you heard what Kevin Hodge said about batting with Alec Athanaze, and I'm kind of paraphrasing now, yes. But he said that he's a stroke player,
Yes.
and he comes in under the radar.
Okay.
You know,
So,
but he's the one who takes away the attention from him. He says Ali Katanis takes away the attention from him.
but no.
And so he likes batting with him even at the regional level.
But there you go. He didn't stress that because he's from Dominica. This is what this happened. He said he's the stroke player. I come under the radar, and that's how we communicate. So he spotted the importance of talk the language of
yeah. But he says that he likes batting with him at the regional level.
Brother Heath, you're correct, in the pristine sense. But when Gary Sobers used to bat with Nurse, when Gary Sobers used to bat with Halford, they batted very well together because they understood each other. It's just like if you and Mr. Francis were running this show, it would show differently if you and I were doing it. And it doesn't really have anything to do with professionalism or knowledge. It's a familiarity. And it is from that point, because between both of them, they played 4 test matches, and they were able to nurse each other through a 165-run partnership. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
We're glad to be back. We apologize to our viewers for we had a power outage, and that's why the stream would have been held. But we are right back, and we are starting where we left off. And as you would imagine and heard there, the discussion, and it's centered around the beautiful performance scenes that we will show you right now of the West Indies batting performance. Wonderful century by Kevin Hodge, and a fantastic batting indeed from Alec Atherton. You could see the England bowlers there in your picture and your screen. Mark Wood cracking 9.71 kilometers an hour. That was serious fast bowling, and Gough Atkins as well. But our players really stuck out, and admirable batting performance by Kevin Hodge, who John Melbourne had showed some promise in Australia during that series in January. Your thoughts on him from January and him fulfilling the selectors, former chief selector Desmond's desire. It is his team, and he must be proud in Barbados now that Kevin Hodge had repaid the faith that he placed in him back in January when he first came into this test.
Well, Hodge has been a good little player, and I don't think you could say that he did anything. He's just steady, and he has of course, before he scored this century, he only passed 51s, and that was against Australia earlier this year. But other than that, 50, he had some innings of, I think, 20 or something like that. But he has blossomed now, and I think we are going to see a better player going forward for both Kevin Hodge and Ali Katanis because of the experience they have had in England. I don't think England is going to run through West Indies batting now as they did previously because of the experience they are garnering now. And even Mikhail Louis, who got out, I guess we call it carelessly, he's 19, 20, so he's on the job learning now. And he should get better because he scored, I think over 600 runs in the recent Cricket West Indies 4-day tournament. So he obviously has the talent. It's just a matter now of being able to put mental preparation and talent together before you go out into the middle. But KVM Hodge I am happy of what he has done today. But the test match is not over. There's going to be a second innings, And West Indies tend to not do too well in the second innings in batting. So we shall see how they adjust, especially when they start, facing some of the spin bowling more. And even Joe Root, they haven't used Joe Root. So they're going to be facing spin in that second inning. So we'll see how they adjust.
Mr. Francis, your countryman, vice captain, Azari Joseph is no soft man where batting is concerned. We are also seeing the batting powers of Kevin Sinclair and how he came up with batting, and also Jaden Seals can hold his own with the batting. How pleased are you that the West Indies have a long tail at the moment, and whatever happens tomorrow, we will take the lead? How far are you looking based on the evidence before that this batting unit, the guys that are to come, and we have seen that Joshua De Silva have started off quite good where the batting is concerned at the moment, and he can only get better in the morning tomorrow.
I am of the opinion that, and I always relate this to the players, not every player on the team is going to be asked to bowl, but every player is going to be asked to bat at some time or the other. And the emphasis should be that you should place a lot of importance on your batting. It irks me to see you bowl so hard and then you just go into the wicket and just give your wicket away, as it were. Azari Joseph has the ability. He has scored 86 against New Zealand away from home. And he seldom gets out with a good delivery. He always gets out by throwing his hands and hitting, going over the top and miss times and then get caught. Tomorrow is a day that each one should be able to put up their hands. I'm going to score 50. It's not beyond them. I've seen even Shamar Joseph in Australia. He scored a good little knock in the test that he played. And Sinclair, like you rightfully said, he is a talented batter, as it were. They need to put 150 runs in the lead. It's not gone, and I don't know if by putting the wicketkeeper down, dropping down one, that he came up playing some shots. He looked a more positive player. I just hope that they just understand there is a price on my wicket. I need to play a good innings. Occupy the crease, the runs will come. And as you see, there's no demon in the wicket, although there's some pace. Get out of the way of the short deliveries, and when the opportunities come for you to score, don't just pat the ball down. Put them away to the boundary. That pitch there is runs still to be made on the wicket. You cannot overlook the fact that England is going to be wanting to whitewash us. And this is an important match for us to draw or try to win it. Go in with the mentality you want to win and not to just draw. And each player has to play his part because they pick a team which each player could get at least 10 runs. It irks me to see a player goes there and, lift his head, play cricket shots, and build an innings. You can do it. Alzari is batting below his potential. We need him to step up the ante. And as a vice captain, he needs to do that. Although I know he has the workload, bowling 90 miles an hour for a long time is not easy work. But now you've gotten enough rest. Tomorrow is the day you can come out and show the world what you can do. We need to put runs on the board so you can have runs to bowl at least. So I'm hopeful. I'm happy that they are in such a good position, and there should be no excuse but to your potential and put some runs on the board. That's all we need. Players have a goal and work your plan.
Mr. Eat, based on what happens in the first test, did England expect this batting performance from the West Indies in this test match, in this second test match here at Trent Bridge?
I don't think they did, Mr. Codling. They were salivating from the end of the last test match that this was going to be the icing on the cake for them. You know, they started to talk up their bowlers and what they expect. And in fact, they were so successful at doing this that they did not really get their tickets for the spectators sold out beyond the first 2 days. Now I'm hearing stories that they're frantically trying to push the news to spectators that there are lots of tickets available for day 3, 4, and 5. So England, yes, certainly they had counted their chickens a long way before they were cooked. You know, but the other thing to remember, you know, Mr. Codling, is that we have to remember that this 175-run partnership between Athenaeus and Hodge is not the first time they've partnered together in a large partnership. Recently, back in March, I think that might have been the 4-day championship, they featured in a 246-run partnership, these two, Athenaeus and Hodge. So, yes, there is some familiarity of the two of them putting heads together and weathering storm and coming through when their team was in need. Also, you know, the other thing, of course, we should remember that since 1928, England and the West Indies have played a lot of test matches. And in those test matches, the West Indies so far is still ahead of England. England had won 51 of those. West Indies had won 59. And 53 were drawn. So clearly the West Indies have the edge, but we are slowly, unless we turn ourselves around and start focusing on the process, we're likely to lose that edge. And that's it from me. Back to you.
Mr. Brown, tomorrow, as we look to jump out now, as we continue to have power issue, as the world would know that Jamaica just went through a very terrible hurricane, and we in the south got the hardest hit. And we have done something magnificent to be able to be covering this second test, and hopefully we'll be back with normal power to cover the third and final test, and also the series with South Africa. Looking ahead tomorrow, Mr. Brown, the batters that are to come, Kevin Sinclair, Azari Joseph, Jaden Seals, what do you expect? We are less than 70 runs away from overtaking England first innings. But taking that over, what do you expect? A 20 or a 50 run lead? Just talk us through those moments.
Okay, thank you, sir. First of all, I would expect for Mr. Da Silva, who has batted with good positive intent so far, has not been reckless in his approach. Holder is less assured, but he has gutted it out and stayed there with him to add 46 unbeaten runs. Tomorrow, we would expect them to come out and carry on in the same vein. And it all depends on Holder and the Silver, along with Sinclair. If they make runs, then naturally we will have the lead. If they do not, then we are going to fall short of getting the lead. But regardless of that, it is important that we fall right in that ballpark. We are no more than a 10-run advantage for England, and hopefully we can get a 30 to 50 run advantage over them, because it's the tail that's coming. But people like Alzar Joseph, especially, you don't know what he's going to give you. He can give you 30 runs because he's not a real slouch with the bat. He's not a genuine tail ender, as they would say. And we know the fighting qualities of Sinclair, that he will sit there and won't gift his wicket. You're going to have to earn it. So I'll be disappointed if they don't make the minimum 425 runs tomorrow. I would think it would be a disappointment. Now, after that, the bowlers are going to have to show the same discipline and take the wickets like they did, but pay far cheaper for it. You cannot buy those wickets so expensive, and you cannot drop 4 catches and expect to hold any team within certain bounds. You can't, plus missing a stumping. So that's 5 chances right there. You don't do it and get away with it. And we did get away with it to some extent in the first inning. But the batters in our second innings, regardless of what happens tomorrow, they will be batting to save the match or to win the match. And unless rain interferes, there'll be a lot of time for either result.
Absolutely. Mr. Melbourne Hall of Famer, I think it was you that touched on West Indies scoring 350 plus runs in a day in England is unheard of. What do you think contribute to what is the before this test match? The coach Andre Coley said that he's asking the team to draw from what they have done in Australia back in January. Do you think they draw something from that? Because clearly this performance, this batting performance in England has been something that it's under 2017 with that twin 100 from Shea Hope and Craig Brathwaite. That that was under the leadership of Jason Holder and the coaching of Stuart Law at the time. And since that we have been back to England, have been badly lost against them, and we have won just one other test match, and that was when we visited in the height of the COVID-19, when Joe Root was their captain, and Ben Stokes captained that game that we won, and that was the second test of that 3-match test series. But since then we have been badly beaten by England. And the question is, what do you think contribute to this remarkable batting performance this morning from our West Indian guys, scoring over 300 plus runs in a day with still 5 wickets in hand?
Thank you so much, Junior. I'm not sure I'm looking at it as a remarkable day. But as I said earlier, I think the preparation with the 3-day county game and the first test has now carried into the second test. And the our youngsters are more familiar with conditions. Um, and interestingly, one of the things you heard the commentators talking about is the ball, the movement of the ball. I guess before they brought on the new ball late, and and changing in conditions. And I remember years ago speaking with Lance Gibbs, and he talked about playing in England and how conditions can change from hour to hour. And he went into a long discussion about high tide and low tide and how it affected the wicket. And this is why I say, West Indies is going to be batting on this wicket last. And I think this is where we are going to see how much our youngsters have really learned. Can they, and as Dale said, they will either be batting to win the game or to save the game. Are they ready for it? As far as the crowd, it's interesting to see the crowd turning out to watch this West Indies team. And I suppose they turned out because they figured England was going to clean up West Indies today. And so they'll be back tomorrow, I'm sure, to see how England perform. I think even more important, what condition is Shamar Joseph in? Can he bowl? And can he bowl and bowl effectively? I think this is going to be the key to what happens when we bowl again to England. The Shamar Joseph factor.
That's a very good one, because it's concerning that he has gone off the field 2 times in Lords and now here at Trent Bridge. So him factoring and with the batting of the team that we have been talking about, we forgot to factor him into our discussion as well, because he's a very good batter as well. And so we need all of them to come together with the batting, because anything that we do with the ball, whatever we do with the bat in the first innings, will have a telling effect as this test match progress. And them getting, as Mr. Dale said, that getting a 50-run lead would have been a great achievement in it and of itself, seeing that England will start with a deficit and not with something to build on. And so we think that already the West Indies would have achieved one of their goals, and that was to get as close as possible to the English target. And now the other one is to overtake it and, go on even further. But somebody in the comments here said that we should not forget that Holder made a double century against England. And we must also not forget that Joshua De Silva made his first and only century against England. So are we looking at Jason Holder and Joshua De Silva batting until tea tomorrow and giving Caribbean people a shocking surprise? Are you gunning for that? Are you expecting that? Is it quite likely, any one of you?
Well, I am hoping that we can bat at least till after lunch tomorrow. And if that happens, we should be quite a few runs past the 416. I mean, anything past 416, I would wish we could get, if it's even 50 runs past the 416, so that we have something to work on when we start bowling in our second innings. But as I say, I hope we can bat past lunch tomorrow. That I think would be excellent.
Mr. Mr. Francis, with Jimmy Adams is the designated batting coach, Kirk McKenzie being a Jamaican himself. What do you expect from Adams? Do you think that Adams should be spending a lot more time with McKenzie, making sure that um, he comes back good in the second innings of this second test match? And because if we see nothing from him in this test match and in the third one, he might not be lucky when South Africa gets here.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Coughlin. Definitely the batting coach who spent a lot of time with Mr. McKenzie. But not only the batting coach, all the members of the team should be speaking to him and try to build his confidence. And he has to do. Get rid of the chances, the shots that he's playing that are not secure until he gets his confidence back. We need to tell him that he's better than that, than what he's performing. And sure, he'll be back in the third test. He has to fight for a spot in the third test. And that should be paramount in his mind. I'm looking to see Holder and our wicketkeeper put back. They may lose a wicket or two, but their task should be to bat England out of this and let them fight to come back. And we have no rabbits. Tomorrow, Wood is also under hurt. He too.
Yeah. He's a concern.
Yes, go ahead. And Root has not bowled yet. I'm sure they'll try and bring him in to fill the role a little. But our batting strength has got to be, and Basha, the spinner, has gone for 100. So it means that he can be hit. And we talked about Shamar Joseph. Shamar Joseph, if you notice, if one aspect of your game gets good, it seems to affect all aspects, your bowling, your batting. Yeah. And I see that Joseph economy rate has increased tremendously, and he is definitely not going to be playing the shots that he played in the first test. And I know he's going to put his head down. So the message that should be sent to the other players that are supposed to be batting, you need to put a price on your wicket or perform. Give England a headache. They should be chasing and not we give them an advantage of 25 or so runs. We should pass that. And it begins with Holder and our wicketkeeper to put us back beyond lunchtime if possible, or even if they lose one. Alzari Joseph have to come in and then the other batters below because they're capable of 25 runs each. And so I'm very positive with what's going to happen tomorrow. But the players have got to plan, what are you going to do tomorrow? Am I going to be scoring 25 runs? Am I going to be gifting my wickets? No, they should not. And if they do that, West Indies will come out with a lead and England may just be on the back foot trying to save the test. And
thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Francis. Mr. Heath, all the wicket seems a prize wicket tomorrow morning.
Well, yes, quite so, because he's given the English bowler the appearance that he is not comfortable at the crease. He's been beaten so many times this morning that each time bowled to him, I find myself almost closing my eyes for because I didn't want to witness what was happening. And he's been very fortunate so far this morning to be still there today, because he's very, very shaky at the moment. But I'm happy that he's still there, and I'm hoping that he will look back on today's performance when he gets out there tomorrow and improve on it, because right now he is definitely a little suspect. But one other point following that, we have Sinclair to come.
Yeah.
And Sinclair in the 4-day championship scored more than 500 runs with an average of 63. So that means he is no slouch with the bat. So if we have Sinclair and Alzari and the other two to follow, I could almost say that we could add an extra 150 runs to the West Indies total tomorrow, and looking much better than things are at the end of the day today.
Absolutely. And that's where we'll leave it for today. We will be back tomorrow, half an hour after the close of play, to review day 3 of the second test between the West Indies and England. A day that we believe that the West Indies should win again. And certainly it will be a day that the West Indies will bowl again. And England will have to bat again. That's for sure. And they will certainly be thinking real hard about their philosophy as it regards to baseball tomorrow, because West Indies certainly have given them something to think about today. Thank you, Mr. Dale Brown, for joining us, the Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame. Thank you, Mr. Francis, the President of Cricket Show USA. And thank you to Hall of Famer John Melbourne for joining as well. And to Mr. E, that is on camera, thank you for joining as well. We hope to have you back, gentlemen, tomorrow, as we will come back to review day 3, half an hour after the close of play, and that would be at 7 p.m. UK time, and 2 o'clock Florida time, and also in the Eastern Caribbean, 1 o'clock Jamaica time. Please set your alarm and join us then. From all of us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy, we leave you with scenes of Kevin Hodge, beautiful 100, and the partnership with him and Alec Atenes. And we will be back tomorrow, half an hour after close of play, to bring you continued thoughts of the second test between West Indies and England. From all of us, goodbye for now.
Goodbye. So long, farewell, and here we go.